Yes, Geordies, welcome back to another episode. And guess what? The fixtures have been announced. So get ready for another roller coaster season for Newcastle United. A season of joy, tears, frustration, happiness, sadness, every single emotion you can imagine Newcastle United will put us through. But this is what we live for, right? So we are going to be looking at the fixtures, breaking down the start of the season, looking at when the Champions League games are and who we're playing after the Champions League. Then we're going to be predicting some fixtures, having a little bit of fun. But firstly, I want to talk about our three academy products and congratulating them because Sean Neve, Trevor Sanusi and Leo Sahar have all signed long-term deals with Newcastle United. These are three players I'm actually excited about. Let's start with Sean Neve, somebody that is a Geordie lad that is highly rated at the club. He's a striker. He stands at about 6'1". I think he's 17, might be 18 if I stand corrected. But he signed a new deal and he is highly rated in Newcastle United. They like this guy. They like his personality, like his attitude, and they like his ability. He's a striker. He's a rangy striker. He knows his way around the penalty box. Then we've got Trevor Sanusi, who we all seen made a few cameos last season. The fleet-footed left winger, agile dribbler. You know what you're going to get with him. He's direct, gets you off your seat, and he's quite entertaining. That's exciting. And then we've got Leo Sahar, quite the mature lad who signed for Newcastle in 2022 from Wolverhampton. The composed right back who impacts a game offensively and defensively. So these are three players that we should get quite excited about without getting overexcited. Encourage them, and hopefully they have a bright future in Newcastle United. So one more bit of news before we get on the fixtures, and it looks like Paul Mitchell has departed the club 2 weeks before he's expected to leave. Now, I'm not surprised by this because when it was first announced that he was leaving, I made a YouTube video and I said, just let him go now, because him and Eddie Howe obviously didn't see eye to eye, obviously weren't working in the same direction, so that nothing was going to change over the next month. So when it first got announced that he was going to leave, I said he should just left, and then we'll promote somebody in that position as a temporary basis, which is what it looks like what's going to happen, because according to Craig Hope, Eddie Howe's family member, Andy Howe, is now assisting Steve Nixon in the recruitment department. Like I say, boys, I'm not surprised by this because you may as well just let him leave, just let him go on gardening leave. We'll still pay you to the end of the contract, but you don't need to be around here because it's not working. And in reality, he's probably had a drop off in his everyday motivation for Newcastle United because he knows he's going to leave. It's like you, if you're working in a business and you know you've got 2 weeks notice and you're going to leave, are you really going to give 100%? Let's be honest, guys. No, you're not. But it looks like Julian Ward has been rumoured to take charge. He's currently technical director at Liverpool. Now, if that rumour starts developing and gathering momentum, then I'll do a video on it. But until then, it's just rumours, whispers. So I don't want to talk about it too much, but it looks like he could be in line to replace Paul Mitchell in Newcastle United. But let's get on to what we're all here for. And this is the Premier League fixtures. And this is the opening weekend. You've got Liverpool against Bournemouth, Aston Villa against Newcastle United, which is a tough game for us. Brighton, Fulham, Nottingham Forest, Brentford, Sunderland against West Ham, Spurs against Burnley, Wolves against Man City, Chelsea against Crystal Palace, Man United against Arsenal, and Leeds against Everton. That is brilliant. There's a lot of fascinating storylines for the opening day of the season already because Newcastle and Aston Villa are kind of on the same position, in my opinion. We're both reached Champions League football. We're both trying to break into that top four, and we're both on a similar pathway where last season we got hit massively by PSR, and it looks like Aston Villa are this season. So we're both very similar when you think about it. And Aston Villa is always a tough game for Newcastle United. So this is how it looks, and it looks like we will be on TV for the opening game on the season, specifically on TNT Sports because they have that 12:30 kickoff slot on a Saturday. So Liverpool Bournemouth will be on Sky Sports on Friday night, and then will be that second game on 12:30 on the Saturday, and that's followed by Man City against away to Wolves, which will be on Sky. And then the Sunday fixtures are always on Sky, and that is Chelsea against Crystal Palace, Man United against Arsenal. Then the Monday night fixtures always also on Sky, and that is Leeds against Everton. So it is exciting. I'm excited, and I bet you're excited because don't forget we've got the Champions League in this, and I'm going to put the Newcastle fixtures in full, and we can break it down and looking at it completely. So this is the Newcastle fixtures in full. Now that is difficult to see, so let me see if I can change that to make it better for you. There we go, guys. That's better. And look at our first 3 games. That is very tough because we've got Aston Villa away, which we don't have a good record at Aston Villa. And Aston Villa had an excellent home record last season. So I'm expecting them to take it in this season as well. We all know Aston Villa are a good side. Went there last season, we got beat 4-1. Yes, we turned them over at home, but when we go away to Villa Park, it's just not a happy hunting ground for Newcastle United. Then Liverpool at home, and that looks tough on paper, but let me tell you something. Liverpool will be worried about that game just as much as we are, because Newcastle United at home, the first home game of the season, you know that crowd is going to be behind that team. You know that crowd is going to be the 12th man. For the opening home game of the season, I want us to play somebody big because we will be up for that game. I'd rather play Liverpool in the opening home game of the season than somewhere midway, because we will be up for that game. The Newcastle fans will be bouncing, the stadium will be rocking, and Liverpool might not know what's hit them. Liverpool are unbelievable side, but you know what? I fancy us against anybody at home, especially when it's the first home game of the season. And then we'll go to Leeds away, and that is a tough game. Ellen Road will be rocking for the first 5 or 6 games. I'd prefer to play Leeds midway through the season. They might have got over that euphoria of being in the Premier League, and their fans are going to be rocking. So Leeds United will be a tough game. I don't care if they're newly promoted. Playing Leeds away from home at early start of the season is very, very tough for anybody. And then we'll go into September, and September looks quite good. I fancy us against Wolves. Bournemouth away will be a tough game, but they've lost a lot of players. Kirkes is going, Dean Huysons has left, Zabarani maybe going to PSG, Semenyo's rumoured to be leaving, Kluivert's wanted, so we don't know what we're going to expect, and we have got a transfer window to get through, so a lot can change from now till the beginning of the season. So Bournemouth away might be quite a nice game, you never ever know. And then we've got Arsenal at home, and we all know Newcastle United live rent-free in Arsenal's head. We played them, we beat them 3 times last season, they only beat us once. I think we've got the upper hand mentally against Arsenal. They don't like coming to St James's Park. Let's keep it that way. So I would fancy us against anybody at home. And when it's your, third home game of the season, our fans again, nothing better the Newcastle United fans when they back their team. Then let's skip October, November, because I want to head into December, because that is the first Tyne Wear derby. 13th of December, we go to the Stadium of Light. And don't forget what happened last time we went there. We turned them over 3-0. I can't wait. I just can't wait for this game. I'm so happy the derby. It's kind of bittersweet because the derby days are back, but I wanted Sunderland not to come up. So I don't know. I don't know how I feel about it. Like, I'm so happy they're back, but I hate them being back in the Premier League. Does that make sense? I don't know if you are in the same boat. But we've got Burnley beforehand and Chelsea afterwards for the 2 home games. But we've also got Champions League coming in as well. And I think our Champions League doesn't do us any favours coming in these Tyne Wear derbies. So we're going to be looking at that and breaking it down. But we've got Man United away on the 27th. Now, there's no fixtures being selected for Boxing Day yet. So fixtures will move around. So that might be moved to Boxing Day. So it'll be roughly there or thereabouts. But for some reason, I always feel like we'll play Man United away around Christmas time. We never get them like in March or October. It's always around Christmas time we have a game against Man United. Then if we look in May, the back end of the season, we've got Brighton at home, Nottingham Forest away, West Ham at home, Fulham away. That could be quite nice for Newcastle United heading into the back end of the season if we want to gather some momentum, because we'll play Arsenal away, but then we've got 4 nice games that we could win later on in the season. So here's some key dates to look out for. The opening game of the season, Aston Villa against Newcastle United. I've already said I think that's a tough game, and if I'm going to be perfectly honest, guys, don't tell anybody, but I don't think we win that game, and that's me being perfectly honest. Tyne Wear derby on the 13th of December. Sunderland against Newcastle. Easy 3 points for us. Easy 3 points. Manchester United on the 27th of December. Like I mentioned, that fixture might be moved to Boxing Day. There's literally no games on Boxing Day as we speak at the moment. So there will be games moved on to Boxing Day, but it'll be the ones that are selected for TV. And then the Tyne Wear derby times 2 is Newcastle United against Sunderland on the 21st of March. Make sure you book that day and the day off from work afterwards, because nobody likes to go into work with a hangover. Then the final game of the season will travel to Fulham, and that could be a nice place to travel on the final day of the season. But what I wanted to talk about is the Champions League, because everybody knows so hard that turnaround from Champions League midweek to the game afterwards. And here are the Champions League dates of the league fixtures and who we play afterwards. So match day 1 is between the 16th and the 18th of September. The game after that, we have Bournemouth away, which is a tough game, a tough place to travel to after you've just played in a Champions League game, because our first Champions League game might be somewhere in Germany or something. So traveling to Germany, getting back to Newcastle, and then traveling all the way to Bournemouth, that's a lot of travel to do in 1 week. Especially we'll have like 2 games in the space of 4 days. So that is tough. And then match day 2 is the 30th to the 1st of October, somewhere in between then. Then we'll have Nottingham Forest at home, which is quite nice. But don't forget, that game is scheduled for a Saturday. Because Nottingham Forest play on a Thursday in the Europa Conference League, that game will definitely be on a Sunday, because whoever plays on a Thursday in either the Europa League or the Conference League will always play on a Sunday afterwards. That's why Chelsea were always on a Sunday last season, because they were in the Conference League and they always played on a Sunday after a midweek game. So that game will be moved to a Sunday. So it's currently on a Saturday, will be moved to a Sunday. So make sure you make note of that. Then we've got the 21st and the 22nd of October. We've got Fulham at home, which is a quite nice game to have after a Champions League game. Then the 4th and the 5th of November, we'll play Brentford away, which is a tough game. And then the 25th and the 26th of November, we'll play Everton away. And then this one, the 9th and the 10th of December, is a Champions League week. We travelled to Sunderland that weekend, and we all know, look at Aston Villa last season, where they played midweek in the Champions League, and I don't think they won for like 6 games afterwards, because the drop-off is massive. They put all their energy into the Champions League game. They couldn't pick themselves up for the Premier League game. Now, this is why we need a big squad. This is why the importance of this summer is absolutely massive, because if we want to compete in the Champions League, then go away to Sunderland and beat them in the league, we need a big squad to do so, because if we get any injuries and we don't make any signings, that is a long season. Then the 20th and 21st of January, we'll play Aston Villa at home, but don't forget Aston Villa are in the Europa League, so that'll probably be on a Sunday. It's currently scheduled for a Saturday. And then the 28th of January, which is when every Champions League team will play Liverpool away that weekend, which is extremely tough. And because we will get through the league stage, because we're Newcastle United and we're going to win everything, or the knockout games. So the knockout games are the 17th to the 18th of February. We'll play Man City away after the 17th and 18th. And then the 24th and the 25th of February is the second leg of the playoffs of the knockout stages. If we get there, we'll play Everton at home. Then if we do get through to the round of 16 of the Champions League, this is tough, because the first leg is between the 10th and the 11th. We've got Chelsea away after that. Then the 17th and the 18th is the second leg of the round of 16. Got Sunderland at home. So what I'm trying to say is, every time we play Sunderland, we could have a Champions League game that week. Then as we're heading to the quarterfinals, because nobody's going to beat Newcastle, we've got Palace away after the first leg, and then Bournemouth at home after the first leg. Semi-finals are on the 25th and the 29th of April. Got Brighton at home. And then the second leg of the semi-finals and 6th of May, got Forest at home. And then the final on the 30th of May, 2026 in Budapest. And guess what, guys? We're going to win it all. So I don't know how you feel about that, but it's going to be a long, hard, grueling season for Newcastle United. And this is why I keep on saying we need squad depth in quality, because we've got a lot of fixtures. They're all going to be jumbled up together. So it's going to be a quick turnaround for game, and then game. Hardly going to have any time to train. And don't forget, we've still got the FA Cup and the Carabao Cup to fit in between them. So there's going to be a lot of football, a lot of talking points that we're going to talk about on our YouTube videos. But I want to have a little bit of fun, and I want to predict our first 6 games. Villa away. I need to be honest, guys. I think we're going to get beat. I'm sorry to say it, but we're going to get beat. But Liverpool at home, I fancy us to win that game, you know. I really, really do. Second game of the season, our first home game of the season. St. James's Park's going to be rocking. We're going to have Alexander Isak showing Liverpool exactly what he can do, just like he did last season. And then we're headed to Leeds. I've got a draw in this game. I think it's going to be tough. It's going to be one of those tight games where it's a 1-1 scoreline, in my opinion, where it's just going to be feisty. There's just going to be battles all over the pitch. That's the type of game I imagine when we go to Ellen Road. Then Wolves at home, but it's time to get our revenge. I think we'll beat Wolves at home. And then Bournemouth away, I'm going to say a draw, but I think it all depends on Bournemouth's transfer window, because if they're losing key players like they are and they might not replace them, then it might be tough for Bournemouth next season. But it's so hard to predict because you don't know what teams are going to do in the transfer window. So I'm going to go for a draw away to Bournemouth, and then Arsenal at home, our third home game of the season, and we already live rent-free in Arsenal's head. So I'm going to go for a 3 points against Arsenal. So I think we'll pick up 11 points from 18 in our first 6 games. But it's not just about what I think. I want to hear what you think. I love it when you comment in the below. So please drop your comments with your predictions for the first 6 games. Anything else you want to talk about, let me know your thoughts in the below. But if you've enjoyed this video, make sure you hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. And until next time, away the lads.